So for those who don't know, we're actually streaming on both YouTube and Twitch now because overall, we think streaming is really an area we want to invest into. We're going to do more with showing you guys both, kind of like videos like this where we update you on what's going on Hummingbot, but as well as kind of like, actually showing you bots running and changing how to change them and what the effects are on the actual performance of the bots. So you can look forward to a lot more kind of video content and streaming content in the future. So today's event is today's Hummingbot Live is really about our work with bounties. For those of you watching, I presented something about bounties a few months ago, where we talked about an experiment we're doing with Gitcoin, where we sponsored a few $1,000 bounty in the Open DeFi Hackathon. So that went really well. And so now I'm really proud to announce that we're starting to do a lot more with that. We're partnering with dYdX on a $15,000 bounty. And there's a lot more of that to come because overall Hummingbot is really growing into a much more of a community-driven open source project, really bolstered by the community and all the people out there are using Hummingbot for market making, both for themselves, but also on the Hummingbot Miner platform. So a little presentation today. I'm going to kind of go into what we're doing with bounties, as well as some of the new developer resources that we have for folks who are participating in these bounties. Let's see. So let's see. I'll just go into the presentation now. Let's see. All right. As I mentioned, today's Hummingbot Live is really about bounties and hackathons. Update to the presentation that I gave a couple months ago, and it's really about us and dYdX. So as a reminder, as always, our Hummingbot Lives are always, we sometimes run bots, but everything's here for demo purposes only. So Hummingbot has really grown a lot. Just as an update, now we have over 15,000 traders and developers on our Discord channels, and it's really become a really decentralized open source project with 90 contributors into the GitHub repo. Most of whom don't come from outside of our company. Meanwhile, most of the folks using Hummingbot are using it for market making software, and they're using it to run on our miner platform. Since inception, we've had about 3,000 individual market makers fill over 2 billion in trade volume for over 20 different issuers on 3 different exchanges. And we're quickly adding more and more exchanges and really getting interest from more and more token issuers with that platform. But overall, Hummingbot is more than just about market making. It's more than just about miner. It's really about kind of like serving every single exchange out there, whether they are centralized or decentralized, and allowing every single, and really trying to open source every single trading strategy out there as well. Because we believe that, trading software is just software, and software is a tool that should be made available to everyone in the world. And by having this single public, open source code base that connects all exchanges and allows everyone to reuse kind of like battle tested trading strategies, it's just going to save everyone a lot of time, and so that was always been our kind of like our mantra going into it. And we're really pleased to see the community kind of adopt Hummingbot. But we also kind of really started to see the problem because we really want to make sure every single connector that we have is working. We want to make sure every strategy is bug free. But the more that we add, the harder it is to maintain. And so and our team has grown, but we still can't serve every single exchange out there. So we really started to experiment with serving, getting folks in the community involved. And so, we've already started to have a few kind of like developers in the community, maintain and build certain connectors for exchanges. And we're starting to now kind of formalize that in the form of bounties. So we see bounties kind of, really being the primary vehicle for the community to contribute code and get reward for it. And so we have 3 types of bounties that sponsors want to give out. One is obviously for connectors, building connectors into Hummingbot for both centralized and decentralized exchanges. So we have already had a few community developers who have built connectors in the past. And so, like, for instance, there's a trading firm called Link who has built the Loopring and the dYdX connectors. We've had a few individual developers as well, and really want to cultivate these guys because they're really going to help us maintain them going forward as well. And then now we're also seeing with dYdX and other firms a desire to have strategies and content as well, because a lot of the newer exchanges, especially the decentralized side, they're still newer, and that is create new opportunities for traders, but also having more content that describes how to actually access these newer venues, as well as strategies that take advantage of all the new features, is something that we just need more of. And we think the community is a great source to provide those types of contributions into the community, into Hummingbot. And so we're still getting off the ground, so we're going to start pretty slowly. We're kind of testing it out with one of our partners, dYdX. But we actually have a lot of projects waiting in the wings who want to give out bounties. What we're trying to do is kind of like make sure that these initial few bounties go well, that we have a good set of contributions for them. So I think it's a great time to actually take part as a developer, because it's the time you invest into learning how Hummingbot works, you'll earn this bounty, but it also puts you in pole position to earn all the upcoming bounties we have coming up. We probably have at least $100,000 of potential bounties coming down the pipe for developers. This is the first one. Well, this actually kind of came on the back of an experiment we did in conjunction with Gitcoin and their Open DeFi Hackathon. This bounty, I think we only put up a few $1,000s, and a developer named Square Lover submitted this a rune oscillator strategy. Right now, it's sitting as a pull request in the code base, but you're free to check out the branch and run it. I've actually run it myself, and I think it's actually a really interesting one that I would consider running myself. So it's a fully baked, really comprehensive strategy. And actually, I think I'm gonna try running it after you have time after this Hummingbot Live. And really show you guys how it works. But I think it's a great example of the type of community-based strategy that folks have built. So with dYdX and Hummingbot, we're going to do something similar. This time the total bounty is $15,000. So dYdX was extremely generous here, and really thank them for their contribution. So that $15,000 will be divided into 3 parts. The first will be one winning strategy that takes advantage of the dYdX perpetual exchange. So the dYdX perpetual dYdX is a new layer 2 perpetual exchange. It uses Starkware's kind of like layer 2, so it's a lot faster and settles instantaneously versus trading on traditional Ethereum, but it still retains the non-custodial and trustless aspects of using an exchange like that. So with dYdX perpetual, we have a connector already that's working, but of course there's many trading strategies that you can take advantage of perpetual exchanges, whether it's hedging, whether it's arbitrage, whether it's fundamental arbitrage, and so forth. We do have some ideas in our announcement posts, but we also look to the community to really come up with any ideas you guys want. So there'll be one winning strategy. We're also going to give a $2,000 content bounty because actually just installing Hummingbot, getting the API key and really integrating dYdX into it, we recognize is going to be a challenge. And so whether it's a guide or a video that shows people how to do that, I think having the content that helps people use this stuff is also really important. And finally, we also want to make sure that we incentivize participation. So we're going to give out kind of 3,000 allocated for tips to be allocated, between us and dYdX to contributions we feel like where the person has really put a genuine effort into it. This is really to try to foster people to participate regardless of what level of technical development they have. Finally, here's some resources. We will post them on our in both the blog announcement posts as well as links to this 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 video afterwards. But basically, there's an announcement blog post with information on how developers should participate, and specifically the branch that they should check out and fork off of and work on them. Also, there's a sign-up form where you can, kind of like let us know and start to get support from our engineers. There's a specific dYdX Bounty channel on our Discord where you can come and ask questions. In addition, we also have a Reddit post as well, where if you have an idea, you want to post this thread there and have like a long form discussion. Create that Reddit thread and maybe refer to it in a Discord or something like that in order to start that discussion. But overall, we're really investing in this because for us, this is, we think this is the only way we're going to scale. By getting the community involved and helping build on Hummingbot, it's the only way that we can really serve every single trader and every single exchange out there with a single community-based solution. So let's add, but I think adhering to my my promise to run bots and really show you guys in every Hummingbot Live how it works. Let me now check out this community-based branch, the strategy that the community developer Square Love kindly created for the hackathon, and I'll show you guys how you can actually use a strategy even though it's still it's not merged into the master branch yet. So to do this, you do have to run Hummingbot in development mode, as a developer from install from source. So I'll run through that as well. But this is an interesting way if you ever want to, even if you're a user, you want to check out something that's still on the development branch or in a pull request, you can actually do that because everything is open source. Overall, yeah. So let's get into it. Open terminal here. The first thing, I'm actually going to try to, I think I'm going to try to use everything from scratch. So I'll kind of like, I'll just basically, let's see, 1 second. I know what I'm doing here. Okay. So, well, unfortunately, it's like it's like hiding thing for me. Okay, I need to move this up. Okay, so let's see. So first, I'm gonna go to Hummingbot. So I have it installed here already, but I'm gonna check out the master branch. I'm gonna assume that that everyone here kind of like is somewhat technical and can at least navigate the command line. So I'm not going to go into too many questions. But if you have questions on what I'm doing, please post it in the chat. I can see it, so I will try to answer questions as well. But basically, what I want to do is I'm going to kind of like walk through this process of installing Hummingbot from source, and then show you how to check out a branch that's not, kind of still pull request, run the strategy, and really show you how this root oscillator kind of strategy works. So okay, let's get into it. So first, I'm going to check out the this branch. So basically, I've just to let you know, beforehand, I've already kind of cloned the Hummingbot repository. So that's where if you ever go to Hummingbot, this is a GitHub. You can kind of like basically clone the repository like this. Check out here, and then and here you can basically create a directory and do like git clone like that. And that'll basically pull the source code of Hummingbot directly down into your local computer. Now, I've already done this, so I already have this Hummingbot directory here. So like right now, I'm on this random branch I created to update the documentation. So instead, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go git fetch origin. This will basically pull every single branch from the GitHub repository down to me. So now I have the entire code base, and now I can switch to the pull request, the branch that has this particular pull request. So this one is called, oh, actually, sorry, never mind. This one is actually a fork from here. So to pull this, I need to go here. Let's see, do this. Here we go. Okay. Okay, I need to. Yep. Okay. So let's see. Let's check out development first. So basically, this will allow me to kind of just make sure that what I'm pulling in is consistent with what's on the current GitHub branch. So I do that. there you go. So yeah, so now I've pulled in this code from the strategy here, and as you can see, and this is every strategy is all the files are really, they all sit in one directory. And so this is an example of kind of like how we set up Hummingbot to try to be very modular, so that you know, anytime you add a strategy, you know, and someone has a connector and vice versa, it doesn't impact what the rest of Hummingbot is doing. So so it's really this directory which has all these files, and then this template directory. So if we go into so now we have this copy of so now of course the first thing we have to do is we should make sure that we activate the content environment. So basically what this means is that Hummingbot, we install a bunch of dependencies, and so in order, one of the dependencies is like a Python compiler. So so any of the Python files here kind of need to be compiled into C before they can be run. So it's important. That's why you always want to switch to the Hummingbot environment before you run the compile command, because otherwise it's not going to debug every single you know, binary that's needed. So now I'm going to run compile. It's going to Pythonize everything, and now after this, I'm ready to go, and I can basically run Hummingbots with this new code in it. So everyone, my computer is really slow today, apparently. So I'm used to this compile command taking so long. But maybe it's because I'm streaming to YouTube and Twitch at the same time. So it's stressing out my computer. All right, there you go, finally. So let's see. Let's start Hummingbot. So get past the normal welcome screen. And then let's create a strategy. So so now let's good time to, so here's a rune oscillator. So actually now let's actually read more about the strategy before we get into it. This strategy is a good example of a technical indicator strategy. So indicator is something that we've had a lot of requests from the community for. And we're working on a way to kind of like generalize that, you know, allow people to kind of add them. But I think this is a good example of kind of like how a user kind of like, you know, basically built his own strategy and kind of built that indicator into the strategy itself. So root indicators are kind of like a well-known technical indicator that indicates like the trend of a market. And essentially it's kind of sampling the last kind of like, you know, the last few kind of minutes or hours of price data. You can calculate kind of like an up indicator, a down indicator, and an oscillator. And it's kind of like based on that, you can kind of figure out the trend of the market and then use that to kind of position your spreads a bit better than you would normally. Because if you can predict that trend, then you may want to kind of like, you know, let's say the market's going up, you probably want to you know, move your bid spreads tighter and your ask spreads wider. Vice versa, if you think the market's going down, you want to widen your buy spreads and tighten your ask spread. Essentially, what you're essentially doing is you want to kind of like shift what's known as your reference price in the direction of that price movement. And then so rather than kind of like always making a market around the mid, you're really making a market around the modified mid price, which is the reference price. So So there's various ways to do that, but I think yeah. But what I really liked about this submission is that this developer also modified the status command in order to really show exactly what's happening. What each indicator is doing, even the calculation for how it's affecting the spreads is all here. And to be honest, we should be doing more of that with our strategies as well, because I think that for one thing I've really discovered the last few years of kind of like running Hummingbot is you can teach people almost anything. Anyone people marketing can learn any marketing strategy, but I think in order to really to use it confidently with real money, having kind of like the feedback loop so they know exactly what the strategy is doing is super important. So it's a point of emphasis that we're going to make more on going forward. We're going to kind of have better documentation as well for developers. But this is definitely something that I really like about this strategy, how this developer kind of like described exactly what everything was doing on the bottom. So let's actually try it. So let's pick an exchange. Let's try kind of like let's try BTC USDT, and then oh actually no, sorry, I'm gonna actually do a Sendex instead because I think because I think one thing we're trying to do here is one thing is we have lots of exchanges with Hummingbot now, and so one of the exchanges that we've partnered with and we've run campaigns on is Sendex, which has quite a few of our liquidity mining campaigns on there. So let me show you how this works with Sendex. So 1 second. So create. So rune oscillator, and I'll pick a Sendex. And then let's see. We'll go with this traditional Bitcoin tether pair on a Sendex. And then so let's pick. Let's see. Let's go with pretty tight orders. So okay, 0.2% for this one, 0.2% over here. So this is pretty tight for market making. And so the next question is how many time periods will we use to calculate the rune oscillator? And so basically this is going to calculate kind of like time periods like this and really show how the bot behaves. So let's go with 25. 60 seconds long in the periods. Okay, so basically what this is saying is every time frame is 60 seconds, and so it's going to take 25 minutes to calculate like all the data related to the oscillator. And so cancel and submit bids. Let's go actually pretty wide here because the goal of this is to try to predict where the market goes. So I think given the fact that we're using this oscillator, you actually kind of probably want to kind of replace your orders maybe a bit more, a bit less regularly, honestly. So let's go with 60. And then minimum Bitcoin order, I'm going to go the smallest amount possible here. I really hope I have some Bitcoin on this exchange. Otherwise, I'll do paper trading if I can't. So let's see. Okay. All right. Before I do that, let me check my balance on a Sendex. Do I have any Bitcoin there? I do not have any Bitcoin there. So you know what? Let's go for the Doge USDT market there, since I have some Doge there for some reason. So let's change the market to Doge, which is honestly probably more interesting. Probably more interesting pair to market make for, just because it's so volatile. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to run this bot, overnight, and just kind of really just see where it goes, and then maybe in the YouTube video we'll kind of like add the second part of the video, where tomorrow morning I'll see where it goes. Because I think overall, I think one thing we're going to try and do more is just show you guys like kind of what happens when you actually run a bot, with a strategy, and what happens with real money afterwards. Luckily, I'm using a very small order amount here. Actually, with Doge, I should probably change that since the Doge order amount is quite different. Let's see. How much did Doge? How much Doge do you think I should use per order? So that's probably 0.02, so it's more. So I probably need to change the order amount to 50 Doge. Okay, I'll do 50 Doge. And actually, no, I want to do small. I'm just the smallest amount possible. 40 Doge will be the limit. So yeah. So basically, this is just going to market make around this balloon oscillator pair on Doge. So let's start the bot. Let's see what it does. Let's see. Is there anything else we need to add here? Probably not, actually. Yeah. Yeah, there is this thing here. So yeah, I think minimum periods is how many periods it needs to go before it starts doing it. Then there's a strength factor as well, which is kind of like how strong the oscillator indicator is. The user really did a great job of kind of describing how this worked here. So please, look at the pull request if you want to learn more. But I'm gonna run the bot, and then to see what happens. So there you go. It's a couple orders. Oh, got fill already. Man, this is probably 0.2%. It's probably too tight, but you know what? It's Doge. So it's the YOLO coin. So whatever. Comment. English level is limited only through playback to slowly understand if it were a text version of AMA. Just a little suggestion. Yeah, we actually do have content for that kind of stuff as well. I think it's the live stream audience. It's hard to AMA on, but overall, I think this type of thing is really show and tell. Try to just watch what's going on. Try to understand what I'm doing. But basically, what I'm doing here, actually, let me explain what I'm doing here. I'm basically making a market in the Doge USDT pair on Sendex, and it's basically using this indicator. So right now, let's pull this bot bigger. Right now, there's 2 orders on the books: a sell order and a buy order. It's very tight on purpose, because I'm just trying to do a lot of trades here. But what the strategy is supposed to do is it's supposed to kind of like really adjust what I'm doing in order to continue to kind of make a market here in this pair. So now the buy order got filled also. Wow. There you go. I probably made some money. Well, not really. I made no money on it, so whatever. But I have filled all trades, 4 trades already. So the great thing about Sendex is that there's a promotion right now for Hummingbot users where you're going to get 0% maker fees and 5 basis points taker fees. So it's a massive advantage for traders and market makers up until the next few months. And I think they'll keep that when you hit the VIP level. So it's a great opportunity to kind of like get to VIP level. And because 0% maker fees is a huge advantage. Because right now, that's kind of why I don't really mind getting filled, because I'm not really paying that much in fees here, if at all. So I think this fees here actually don't even reflect the maker discount. So my actual fees are actually a lot lower. So but we can look at the market on Sendex to see what it's actually doing on a Sendex. I'm not going to log in because I think this test bot is on another account. But basically, what this is doing here is it's making a market in the Doge USDT pair. So this first pair right here, and it's placing orders over here on the order book. So if I go here, my order is one of these guys over here. So let's see, currently I have 1 buy order outstanding, at a price of 0.29192. So it's probably one of these guys down here. So 40 Doge. Yeah. So and basically what I'm counting on is kind of like that the spread that I have, the 0.2% on the buy side and 0.2% sell side, that if I buy and sell, I'll consistently make 0.2% on average every time. Now, given how volatile this is, I'm probably gonna lose money on this trade, honestly, just because the volatility of Doge is so high that because I'm always on the opposite side of the trade, I'm likely to lose more than 0.2% on every trade. However, the wider your spreads are, the less you're going to fill. So it's kind of like, that's really the essential kind of trade-off for market makers. So that's why I think, in my opinion, as a market maker, as an individual market maker as well, you're not really trying to compete with the big boys. You're not trying to fill every trade here. You're trying to set a spread that protects you from kind of like, being filled. You're using a bot like Hummingbot to control your risk. But most importantly, I think you want to be compensated for taking that risk, which is why we run a platform called Hummingbot Miner that rewards you in the terms of tokens for providing liquidity on specific token pairs on Ascendex, Binance, and KuCoin. So it's a reward, honestly, that I think as an individual market maker you kind of need, and then it becomes a game of like, can you control your risk well enough so that the reward is larger than that risk. But given the rewards here, that's why we sort by yield. Some of these yields are pretty astronomical. On some of these markets, on Ascendex especially, there's a great opportunity to earn a lot of reward. And because and so even though these are some of the riskier trading pairs with a lot more volatility, we think that at least currently the rewards really compensate for that. But it also boils down to how well used Hummingbot. I gotta admit, even though I'm the CEO, I'm not an expert here. Mainly because I just don't have the time to really analyze markets and really try to plot how large the oscillations are and try to kind of have a strategy that kind of captures the right level of oscillations in the market while being protected against like big surges and trends. So a lot of that is really kind of like just like technical analysis is really understanding trading. This is actually where Paulo, I got to admit, is much better than I am. So that's why he does most of our lives. But I think one thing we're going to do a better job of is really kind of showing you guys how a trader, how a market maker really kind of like sets up their bots and tries to kind of like add parameters to control for risk. Because like the great news is, because your bot is always buying, selling. It's as long as you're kind of filling all sides, it's actually pretty hard to lose a ton of money. Like right now, let's see, I basically lost a little bit, but I probably shouldn't be putting 0.2% spreads in Doge here. But I'm also running this to really show you guys how to how to basically kind of like because how to do this, because ultimately as one thing that a lot of traders say is that you kind of have to lose some money to get an education. And so for us, if I can lose a bit of money, I can show you guys that. One question is there a paper trading mode or simulation mode? Yes, there is. So this is paper trading mode here. So if you do paper trade, that puts you into paper trading mode. I'm not going to do that because it's probably going to screw up my bot here. So the one thing to note is that paper trading, I would say, is not exactly kind of foolproof, because the way it works is that it's using the live trade, the order book data, and it's kind of like placing your orders there and kind of acting as if trades will fill you. However, if your orders are actually on the order book, that changes the behavior of other market makers, and so. And also, there also is the time difference of actually placing and canceling orders, which paper trading doesn't reflect. So typically, paper trading is going to be, I would say it gives you a feel of it, but it is going to be kind of like a little bit different than live trading. So what normal traders do actually is that they actually try to trade with the smallest amount possible on exchange. So the minimum order amount is, let's say, $10. Start with that, and also start with your spreads wider. So 0.2% in a market is very wide. If you actually look at an order book like this, like the actual order book is very wide. So here's the ask side. This goes down, pretty deep. So initially, I would, for a volatile market like Doge, I would recommend setting your spreads at something like 1%. Or if you're earning rewards in miner, I would set them as close to the kind of like the max spread as possible. So maybe for Doge, something like 0.9%, and just kind of like understand what it means to earn certain rewards, and just like kind of get a feel of like how much reward you're going to earn versus like the amount of volatility risk you're taking, given your spread level. Because the lower your spread, the more yield you'll earn in terms of rewards, but then the more often you're going to fail trades and the more risk you take. So that's really the trade-off. And so right now, I actually am running in Doge. So you can also kind of log in into your miner accounts and see kind of like a performance overview of how much capital you're earning versus like the trade P&L and so forth. But kind of going back to the strategy again, what this is doing is it's kind of like calculating also indicators, and then it's adjusting these spreads given these indicators. So I think what it's saying right now is that it doesn't really know where the market's going, so it's not really adjusting the spreads, and so that's why the spreads continue to be the ones I have right now. So that's pretty much about it. I think hopefully that gives you a good overview of how how a community-based strategy with Hummingbot works. I'll try to keep this bot running. Maybe record like a follow-up to this tomorrow and add it onto the video for the YouTube folks. But overall, just as recap, we're really interested in getting the community to help maintain and contribute to Hummingbot. We have lots of sponsors who want to give out bounties in order for people to provide strategies, conductors, and also content. And so the dYdX one is the first one of its kind that we're really promoting, but there's a lot coming up. So if you're a developer or if you're a trader, you just want to kind of create content for Hummingbot and earn rewards and get paid for it, please sign up on our sign-up form, which is available on the blog post and some of the other links, which will be on this video, at the end of this video. So thank you very much. Let's see if there's a caption here I should play. There you go. Follow us on Twitter at Hummingbot /_IO. And this is Mike, CEO of Hummingbot, and see you again on